Ready for a wild one? This is a story that's blowing up online right now. It's got everything, free speech, censorship, and a whole lot of drama. We're heading over to Germany, where a political commentator named Tobias Huch has basically, he's declared war on certain YouTube channels. Yeah, it's really self. And the reason he's doing it, get this, he says he's defending democracy. You can't make this stuff. I know, right? But here's the thing. His methods are a little, let's just say they're rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And that's where you all come in. Because today we're going to break down this whole controversy, the arguments, the players, the potential fallout, the whole 9 yards. Exactly. So you can decide for yourselves. Is this Huch guy, is he a hero or is he taking things way too far? See, what's fascinating with this whole situation is you get this global anxiety, right? We're all feeling it about the sheer volume of information out there. And misinformation even more so. And Huch is like this lightning rod. He's tapping into that anxiety and trying to be this like one-man content moderation army. One-man army, that's a perfect way to put it. Especially when you hear what he's promising. This isn't just some online rant, okay? Huch claims he can single-handedly take down, get this, 80% of the channels he deems harmful. He even put a price tag on it, 10,000 dirty. I don't know about you, but that sounds, less like free speech and more like, I don't know, hostile takeover. Let's bring up a reaction from Leon Lovelock, who, in my opinion, has an interesting take on it.
You are friends of democracy, aren't you? You want to live in a democracy, don't you? There is always an opposition in a democracy. There are always people who have a different opinion, and who will express this opinion, and who will express this opinion, and then directly insult them and try to delete their channels. What kind of democracy is that? It's more fascism than what the channels are spreading, in my opinion. Insulting them in the most disgusting way and lumping everyone together. What the fuck, bro? Even if I don't agree with some of these channels that have just been shown, that doesn't mean that I have to insult them or that I have to make sure that their channels are blocked. That's just weak. Why don't you look after yourselves? Why don't you make your own content where you say, I stand behind this. This is my personal opinion. I want to spread it, and that's why I'm making videos about it. Why do you have to forbid other people from expressing their opinion in the same breath? Because it's different to yours. And then we're all supposed to be the same, and all say the same, and all say the same thing. What kind of world is this then? What kind of YouTube is this then?
Topful Gold would have to get in touch with me for that. And I would say that I can take 80% of these channels offline with one bundled action.
80% dieser Kanäle mit einer gebündelten Aktion offline nehmen kann.
But it has to be properly coordinated in one fell swoop. Then it works. Then these channels are all gone.
And then? Then you feel good or what?
A very blatant statement. Top Full Gold collects a lot of channels here that, in his opinion, spread conspiracy myths and fake news. And Tobias Huch now says that you can get rid of all these channels, or that Top Full Gold should contact him, and he can then get rid of all these channels. We should bear in mind that Tobias Huch was active as a politician with the FDP. In my opinion, a politician from a governing party is calling for opposition channels to be blocked. That's how it is. I think this is a frontal attack on Article 5, Paragraph 1 of our basic law. Everyone has the right to express their opinion. Everyone shall have the right freely to express.
Strong, bro. Strong. There you have my back, my juzda.
And disseminate his opinions in speech, writing, and pictures, and to inform himself without hindrance from generally accessible sources. Freedom of the press and freedom of reporting by radio and film are guaranteed. There shall be no censorship. I repeat once again, there shall be no censorship.
It's definitely raising some eyebrows. And it gets even more interesting when you see the channels he's going after. We talked about channels he accuses of spreading fake news, promoting his far-right party, the AfD, and just generally being a danger to German democracy. Okay, so full disclosure here, I'm guessing you're probably more up on German politics than I am. Probably a safe bet. So for those of us who don't speak German, what's the deal with this AfD party? What makes them so controversial? Right, so the AfD is short for Alternative for Germany. They're this right-wing populist party. And
They've gained a lot of traction in recent years. They're known for their nationalist stance, anti-immigration policies, and they're pretty skeptical of the European Union. Now, here's where it gets tricky. While they do have seats in the German parliament, their rhetoric often veers into territory that a lot of people consider, what's extreme and divisive. It really blurs the line between legitimate political discourse and potentially harmful ideologies.
Okay, maybe he wanted to join their party but wasn't accepted. That's how it looks to me at first glance, but I can be wrong. But is he right to go after them like this? I mean, isn't that a bit extreme? Like, where do you draw the line?
To really get what sent Huch over the edge, we need to introduce you to one of his main targets, dating coach named Maximilian Putz. And this is where things get really interesting, because it touches on one of the most sensitive subjects imaginable, especially in Germany. We're talking about the Holocaust.
Yeah, that's right. Huch was particularly disturbed by a video where Putz seems to question the official narrative of the Holocaust.
Whoa, okay, now I see why this isn't just about political disagreements. So what did Huch do? Did he, try to debate this Putz guy online? Because I imagine challenging someone's views on the Holocaust, especially publicly, is going to cause a firestorm on its own right. Oh, absolutely, this is a super sensitive topic. And Huch did not hold back. He publicly accused Putz of Holocaust denial. And then went a step further. He filed a criminal complaint against him.
Wait, a criminal complaint? You mean questioning the Holocaust is actually a crime in Germany?
You got it. Germany has very strict laws against Holocaust denial. It's seen as not just offensive, but as a form of hate speech that can incite violence and discrimination.
Wow, that's intense. So HUD is basically using the full force of the law to go after these YouTube channels. But isn't that in itself a form of censorship? I mean, where do we draw the line between protecting free speech and preventing harm? Okay, so we've got Huch taking this hard line against anything he sees as, harmful online, even going so far as to file legal complaints. But like any good story, there's another side to this. It turns out Huch's tactics have ignited a whole other firestorm, this time from people accusing him of being the enemy of free speech. Talk about ironic, right?
Oh, the irony is definitely not lost on Huch's critics.
Yeah.
They're saying he's become the very thing he claims to be fighting against.
Yeah.
Censor-silencing voices he doesn't agree with.
Yeah, and they're not holding back either. One YouTube channel, de-sick in their agitation, they're calling Huch out big time, basically saying he's a hypocrite. And that by trying to control what people can say online, he's no better than those authoritarian regimes he's always ranting about.
Yeah, it's a classic case of who watches the watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
Huch might have good intentions, right? Like he wants to protect democracy, but his methods are leading some to question if he's actually undermining those very values.
It's like that old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intention.
Exactly. And it really highlights the massive power that tech giants like YouTube have in shaping online conversations. On the one hand, they have a responsibility to curb hate speech and misinformation. But on the other, they're walking this tightrope between moderation and censorship.
Yeah, it's a tough balance to strike, for sure. So where does Maximilian Putz fit into all of this? You know, the dating coach Huch targeted. What happened after Huch filed that criminal complaint? Did Putz just back down?
Not a chance. Putz is adamant that Huch is behind a wave of reports that got his channel suspended from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically saying Huch weaponized his followers to silence him.
Hold on, wait. So you're telling me someone can actually get a YouTube channel taken down just by getting enough people to report it?
Well, it's not quite that simple. But you're picking up on a crucial point. Platforms like YouTube rely heavily on a mix of user reports and algorithms to flag content that might violate their guidelines. Here's where it gets a little murky. Huch hinted at having a trick up his sleeve, a way to exploit YouTube's system to get those channels taken down. Now, he's being intentionally vague about the details, probably for legal reasons, but he's essentially claiming to have found a back door to manipulate the system.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. So what you're saying is Huch might have figured out how to game YouTube's algorithms, and now everyone's freaking out because if he can do it, what's stopping anyone else from doing the same thing, even for the wrong reasons?
Exactly. It's like finding a glitch in a video game that lets you win every time.
Yeah.
It might seem like fun at games, but when it comes to something as important as free speech online, those kinds of loopholes can have serious consequences.
And it's not just about Huch and Putz anymore. We're talking about setting a precedent. If this tactic works, it could embolden others to weaponize these reporting systems for their own agendas. Imagine someone using it to silence their critics, or stifle dissenting opinions, or even just to settle personal scores. It's kind of chilling when you think about it. Suddenly, the internet doesn't feel so free and open anymore, does it? It's like we're playing whack-a-mole with censorship. You know, you try to shut down one thing, and 10 more things pop up in its place. Right? It's this constant battle. So how do you even begin to address a problem like this? Where do you even start? That's the million-dollar question. And I don't think there are any easy answers. But one thing's for sure: ignoring it won't make it go away. If anything, this whole situation with Huch, it's really thrown a spotlight on how vulnerable these platforms are to manipulation. Yeah, and how those vulnerabilities can be exploited to silence dissenting voices, even those with perfectly legal viewpoints, even if those viewpoints are unpopular. Exactly. It's a slippery slope, no doubt. It really is, and it raises so many questions about the responsibility of these platforms. Should they be doing more to prevent this kind of manipulation? Should there be more transparency in how these reporting systems work? Right, like who gets to decide what's harmful? It's like trying to solve a puzzle, but the pieces keep changing shape. And it makes you wonder, what if this strategy, this trick that Huch says he's uncovered, what if it actually works? What kind of message does that send to governments around the world? Governments who might be looking for ways to control what people can and can't say online. It's a chilling thought. Governments could see this as a blueprint for censorship by proxy, pressuring these companies to remove anything they deem undesirable, all under the guise of combating harmful speech. So instead of open debates about these issues, we're just going to have these shadow wars playing out in the algorithms that control what we see and hear online. It's a real possibility. Yeah, and it's one we need to be aware of. Because if we're not careful, the very tools that were meant to connect us and to give everyone a voice, they could end up being used to silence us all. Well, that's a thought to keep you up at night. But it's also a good reminder that the choices we make online matter. The content we engage with, the way we use these platforms, it all has real-world consequences. So the next time you see something online that makes you stop and think, remember Tobias' speech. And remember the questions that his story raises. Because the future of free speech, both online and off, it might just depend on how we answer them. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into this wild digital showdown. But remember, this is just the beginning of your exploration. Keep asking questions, keep digging for answers, and keep the conversation going.